Knees and toes.
The shoulders have to do with anything?
Because of what you did to my bold prediction. Yes, I'm taking this too far, but I don't care. We're
The
going.
noise is great for those who are audio only.
What's up, everyone? It's Monday, January 19th, 2026. As always, I am PK alongside my co-host Phil, episode 406. Oh, what's this fancy little thing doing here? Oh, that's right. I finally got my championship trophy. Look at this sucker. I ordered the nameplate, so when the nameplate comes in a couple weeks, I'll put it on and then I'll do this again.
For those not
Sorry,
on
it's so heavy,
YouTube,
it's so big. I gotta set it down.
PK has his league trophy that he's holding up, and that's why he's starting the episode a little bit awkward. He's just rubbing it in.
I'm also rubbing the trophy as well. Yeah, if you're audio only, go to YouTube. Well, that sucker was big. He got dropped off Sunday afternoon. I was the previous years. I didn't know we got a bunch to get into. Previous year's champion. I'd been bugging him for a while because I won the championship like 3 weeks ago now. Been like, I still haven't got my championship trophy. Like, where is it? And I found out. Well, I didn't find out. The snow is supposed to be really bad the next couple days, like 10 to 12 inches. I was like, okay, the snow blower's in the back of the shed. I got to move a bunch of stuff around to get it. I was like, I got to start it up because I'm not shoveling 12 inches of snow. So I was back there doing it, and he calls, and he goes, hey, you home? I was like, is this for the trophy? And he goes, yeah. I was like, I'm sure as heck home. So I got the trophy. So if you're on YouTube, I'll probably post a picture out on social media. I'm proud of it. I should have won it last year if I would have made playoffs. But it's I'm rubbing the football right now. You can't see it, but my hand's moving. All right, we'll dive into it. Remember, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok at Buffalo Sports Collective. I'm going to have some probably TikTok videos all through the year with this trophy. If I would have went 3 for 3, it would have been so much worse. And on X and Blue Sky, Buffalo Sports Co. Don't forget to follow our channel wherever you listen to podcasts. Check out our website at buffalosportscollective.com. Phil's article breaking down the game we're about to go over, Bandits versus... Who did they even just face? Blackbears. There it is. Thank you. That'll be coming out on Tuesday. And look for the time breakdowns of the description of the show. This coming week, Phil's article on Tuesday, like I mentioned. PK's interview is not coming out on Wednesday. I was very confused, thinking that Bandits had a game this coming week, so I scheduled the interview and found out, they got a bye week. So no interview on Wednesday, but we do still have power rankings on Thursday, along with NLL Pick'em. Check out for X on Monday and Tuesday to vote on the polls. There's only 4 games. And then on Instagram story on Tuesday, you can play along. I'm creeping up. People's picks did real bad this last week. Phil and I did bad as well, but we were better than you people. And then Friday, we got some plans to schedule, but we got Bills award show nominees. And then the following Monday will be the award show. Bandits, we got some fun plans with the bye week. But on today's episode, for finally diving into it, Bandits versus Ottawa, NLL Week 8, Bills versus Denver, and Sabres last few games. We'll start with where the weekend started, which was in Banditland. And I'm going to be... They're probably going to revoke my media credentials, Phil. We mentioned it in the last episode, how bad it's been since I've been up in the box. I am an honorable man on this episode. In the 3 years since we've gotten media credentials, in total, the team, I shouldn't take credit for this. The team is 1-7 when I am in a media press box. They are 0-3 this season. Phil, what's their record currently?
3-3.
So when I'm not up there, they win. When I'm up there, they lose. Bad news for the Bandits. I'm going to be up there at least 2 more times, and I'm hoping to be in Hamilton for the Toronto game. So if you're a betting person, I would bet against the Bandits on that one. They lost 10-9 on Friday night. Smith had 3, Nanicook with 2, McKay, Byrne, Priolo, and Buchanan with 1 each. Mad Vince, 37-47 saves. Shots were in favor of Buffalo, 53-47. Faceoffs also in favor of Buffalo, 13-10. Ottawa, 2 for 4 on the power play. Buffalo for the second straight week, 0 for. No opportunities whatsoever.
It was 2 games ago they were.
Oh, it was 2? Okay, for some reason
Rochester
I thought it was
last week they
game.
were 3 for 3.
You're right. Yeah. So it was the
But
last
2 games
home
ago,
game.
they had 0 as well.
Yeah, last home game. I apologize.
Yes.
I think Bud Bailey mentioned that hadn't happened in 20 years. I wonder when the last time it happened that they went 0 for 0 for twice in one season. It can't. Can't be
First
a real
time in
stat.
history.
Yeah, they were 2 for 2 or 2-2 score after one. It was 4-4 at half. Buffalo actually led going into the fourth quarter, 7-6. Ottawa would score 4 straight to finish the fourth quarter. Phil, I'm not to finish, to start the fourth quarter. What was your overall thoughts on this game?
I think they're still just off. They
Yep.
still don't seem like they're bringing their A game, and I don't know if it's necessarily their fault per se. I just they're off. They are not playing Buffalo Bandits lacrosse, and I feel like if you look at all the games they've lost so far this year, I feel like they've been a little bit off in most of them. And if they had played, like I still believe, I know with their 3-3, most fans will probably say they're not making playoffs anymore. Season's over. You're at 500. You're done. But I still believe that they are one of the best teams in the league. And I think if they play the very best of everybody's ability on the team, they probably would have won most of these games, if not be undefeated. But they're having these off games where it's just some things are a little bit off. And in a very tight competitive league, that's all it takes. That plus Higgins standing on his head multiple times.
That was going to be my point on this one. They still didn't look right. I fully agree with you. In their 3 losses, they haven't looked right. I was very excited to see them go 4 lefties, 3 righties in this one because I think that's their best lineup. But on top of not looking right, they got goalied. I mean, Zach Higgins was playing out of his mind this entire game. I'm not excusing Buffalo and saying it was all goalie, but I feel like we've seen better Buffalo Bandits lacrosse in prior years where I just don't think they're there yet. I think part of it is the Zach Higgins factor. I think part of it is you haven't had a consistent lineup for these 6 games they've played. They've never had a consistent same rotation of forwards. So I think that is also part of it. I'm not putting this on the defense. I'm not putting this on the goaltender. 10 should be enough to get a win in this league. Buffalo's offense is just the issue right now. And it goes back to what we said either the last episode or the episode before. I think they're missing a piece on the forward group. Like you called it out a couple episodes ago. They never replaced a Chase Frazier. So if Dane Smith and Josh Byrne aren't hitting from the outside, there's not very many shooters on this team, if any more, that can pipe it in from distance. Like that was Chase Frazier's specialty, along with the insane goals in front of the net. But when you needed a goal from distance, he was able to do that. I don't think Buffalo ever replaced that on this team. And I guess we can start diving into the forwards here, but no Mike Trill and no Lucas Nielsen. That's kind of what we were expecting when we saw that Ryan Benesh was activated. We kind of assumed that it was going to be 4 lefties, 3 righties, which with their current roster build, I still think that's their best roster. I just think that they're missing something up top. Like I don't know if it's another ball carrier on the righties because Chase Frazier wasn't really a ball carrier. I think They're missing something up top. Maybe it's just integrating Benny into this lineup more. Maybe it's Scanlon still trying to figure it out in this lineup. But I'm not hitting the panic button. Last time my hand was, I knew where the panic button was. Now I'm in the same room as the panic button. This team is still making playoffs. They're probably still going to host a playoff game. But unless something gets adapted with this team, either the same rotation of forwards for a few games here to see what you got, or Chugger's got to add somebody. Like, I think I posted, I can't remember where I posted, I think it was in one of the Discord channels, that if Buffalo loses this game, it's not panic mode, but I think it accelerates Chugger's decision to make another move on this team. He added Mike McCannell. I've been saying his name wrong. I apologize. Mike McCannell, which makes sense when it's not C-O-N, it's C-A-N. So that was more stupidity. Again, idiot can't pronounce people's names. It's a common thing. But I still think that this loss might have just accelerated Chugger's thought process to he's got to go out and get either another righty or just another improvement on the left-hand side. I do not think that as it stands on this time right now through 6 games, I do not think this offense is a championship winning offense right now.
Yeah, and I mean, we talked about it last episode with Byrne. Mentioned that it would have been a really, really long time since he had hit 4 points or less.
Right.
Well, he had 2 points in this game, and he hasn't been held to just 2 points in a game since January 28 of 2023. That's a really long time ago, almost 3 years since he's been held to 2 points or lower. He doesn't look right. There's something I don't. There's two theories I have with this. There's either an injury that's undisclosed, or teams are daring Buffalo's secondary scoring to score. And they're putting all their attention on a player like Josh Byrne on the left side, all their attention on Dane Smith on the right side, and saying, we'll take them out as best we can and force your secondary scoring to step up and score, because right now we're not scared of them. And this is another example of they didn't really do it. McKay, 1 goal. Benny, 0. Scanlon, 0 on the left side. Buchanan, 1 goal at the very, very end. And then Nanakoke with 2, which was pretty good. But like the secondary scoring isn't scaring other teams right now. And if they can take out as best of their ability, like Smith still had a 7-point night with 3 goals. But I think you and I would agree, like that's good. Like that's kind of where you want Smith if the secondary scoring isn't doing enough to kind of bridge the rest of that gap. And same with Byrne. You held him to 1 goal and 1 assist, and that goal was once again very, very late in the game. So for him to not really get on the scoreboard until the last second and hold Smith to 7 points, I think teams are starting to figure out, okay, if we can do that, the secondary scoring for Buffalo has to step up. And right now they're not doing it. And I think it's just going to take time. This has been their longest stretch of games. Now they get a bye week again. Like you said, Benesh has barely been in the lineup when he has been. Other players have been out. Like it's been all over the place with this roster construction. After this bye, they get 6 straight games in a row. That to me is going to be the biggest stretch and most telling stretch of the season. And I think after this next block of 6 games, I think Chugger will have a really, really good idea to know what's going on. I think after 6 games, they get another bye week right before March. So this next group will give him a great idea of, okay, where is this team after these next 6 games and where is this offense? Because even Benny, like the 4 assists are great, 2 shots on goal, and he was dropping the ball so much. And I like Benny a lot. I don't think there's any reason to panic with him. He was just out of the lineup, back in the lineup. And I think that's the problem with him is he has not been consistently in the lineup because of injuries. And I think he's going to need this stretch as well to get going and get himself going. He's still a good play, still at 4 assists, but he's someone who has the ability to score a lot more than he is right now. And there were a lot of times they passed it to him real quick and he just dropped it, or the whole offense again was dropping the ball all over the place. So it just seems like they're off. Like there's times where they look really, really good. And in those moments, I think Higgins played out of his mind and stopped them from scoring. So could they easily have had more if Higgins had an off night? Absolutely. And we're talking about this a little bit differently, but there were plenty of times where they needed to step up and they just looked lost. They looked off and they just didn't look like the well-oiled machine that we know they can be.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. The 2 goals that I really want to mention are the third one with Dane Smith. Somebody asked him in the press conference, were you meaning to pass that one to Buchanan? He was 100%. He admitted he was 100% trying to pass that to Buchanan, and it beat Zach Higgins. Then the 7th one, Nanakoke from distance. It was a great shot. This team needs Nanakoke to step up. Like we said it before the season, if they're not going to make a move, they need somebody to step up, and we put that on Nanakoke. This game felt like a game where he wasn't playing that same type of role, where it was sometimes get it, bang inside, and try to get inside. This felt like a game where, and the 9 shots prove it.
Right.
This felt like a game where Nanakoke called his own number multiple times, and it's paid off. I think that's your best lineup, is when Nanakoke can still do his role like he's done for years. He's excellent at it. But there's times in these games where you need another goal scorer out there, and I think Nanakoke has it. That shot was fantastic. It was a low fake, high shot, and he heard us, Phil. I got in my notes. He heard us say that they don't have a long-distance shooter besides Josh Byrne and Dane Smith, and he proved that he could do it. So I think they were getting inside. I think the offense, while they were dropping balls and missing passes, they were at least getting inside, and Zach Higgins was playing out of his mind. So if Zach Higgins was just having an average game, I think Buffalo gets out of this. Are there still issues with it? Yeah. But I do think if Zach Higgins was playing even a 10th worse, Buffalo wins this one. And they even made it close at the end. Like those Connor Farrell, and we'll get into it at the end. When faceoffs matter, you need to be able to win them. and he won the faceoffs that needed to be done when faceoffs mattered. Huge faceoff wins. He gave them the multiple opportunities to come back in this one. The offense was able to do it. The best their offense looked was in that final stretch of like 3 minutes. Like,
but the problem
it
with
took so long to
that,
get there.
it not only that, it's like it's once again that their man up is just phenomenal. Two of those goals were on 6-on-5, and they made it look really easy. Once they have that man up, they're like, okay, we know, like, we were very comfortable in this situation. Even that very, very end when I don't know why they didn't shoot for the empty net blows my mind. Don't know what the heck they were doing. But when Ottawa gave the ball up and gave Buffalo another chance, even though it ended up being a little bit of a scramble drill, you had Dane Smith in front of the net, point blank. That's all you could possibly ask for in that situation. And he fired it wide. You could tell right the second it happened. He knew what he did. And I even took a picture. I didn't send it to you, but I was watching some of the game back today. In that situation, I'm taking Dane 9 times out of 10. So I'm not saying he did this wrong, but Nanticoke was wide open right next to him. I don't know how much time was left on the clock. It seemed like enough because, they even got the ball back. There's plenty of time left on the clock, but had he faked his shot and passed it to Nanticoke, Nanticoke would have been one-on-one with the goalie with no one around him. But in that situation, you're scooping up that rebound, you're taking the shot, and again, usually Smith would hit that, and he was having a great night. So 6-on-5, they were incredible, but their even strength the rest of the game was a little bit off. And like you said, Higgins more often than not, like they had great plays, great designs, everything was working, and Higgins was just right there to shut it down.
Yeah, some of the negatives to illustrate that point more, Nanticoke was setting those picks, and instead of going to the net, he was popping out. He was open every single time that happened, and Dane just missed him every single time. The first couple, I was like, okay, he's setting this up for later in the game where he's drawing the two every time, and he's not passing it. I went, this is what Dane Smith does, is he does specific things in the first half where it sets things up for the second half because he knows, okay, if I do something like this, I know what the defenders are going to be doing because that's what I've done all game. I kept waiting for the drop back pass to Nanticoke, who was wide open if you go back and watch this, it was every single time Nanticoke would set the pick and then pop back out, and he was wide open. He would have a clear lane to either take it to the net or take that shot. And Dane just didn't pass it to him every single time. Like, it was getting so frustrating where I was containing myself up in the box, just not yelling down, just pass the freaking ball. And it didn't happen. So I'm not fully blaming. It's
you should
just
have told
thing.
The players, like, hey, tell Johnny.
Yeah, at halftime, Nanticoke open every time. Pass that along. But we already went over the dropping the passes. There was no secondary opportunities in this one as well.
Because I did also want to bring that up as well. From either team, no team was getting any secondary. It was just one shot, defense picks it up. One shot, defense picks it up, back and forth the whole time. It wasn't even like intense transition back and forth. It was just like neither team wanted a second chance on offense. They're like, that was our opportunity. All right, you guys get a chance. It was very weird.
Then the only other thing negative that I really have, I shouldn't say only, the last thing I have is the goal droughts. From goal 2 to 3, it was 13:07, and from goals 7 to 8, it was 15:16. Like, this offense it has too many skill players to be going that long goal droughts. And this has been a common theme all season. It was a common theme earlier in last season as well. The only other thing, I shouldn't have said that was the last thing I have. I remember this and then I forgot and then I remembered it again. I'll ask you, how much do you think is playing a factor into just how much mileage is on this offense? Dane Smith plays in the summer on Six Nations. They go through a wicked season. Josh Byrne just joined it this year. He looks a bit off. Ian McKay. Like, nearly all your primetime scorers right now have gone to the finals for 5 straight seasons, so that's a long run. Even if you want to exclude the 5th one, the last 4 years, they've gone the distance. The last 3 years with Six Nations, they've gone the distance. Like, this is a lot of mileage on an older team. They're still in their prime right now, but they're on the other side of 30. How much do you think that is possibly playing in a factor here? Or do you think if that's just like content creator media talking point?
I mean, I could see it, but at the same time, they're never going to use it as an excuse.
Right.
So, I mean, they need to be better, but you can see it again. I don't know. I'm not worried about him as a full season, but Josh, again, just looked off. He just didn't look, I'm not going to say he wasn't hustling, but he looked not as explosive, and he did pick up an injury right before the season. I don't know if it's nagging him, but he didn't look as explosive. We talked about it recently. He isn't getting to the inside anymore. He's not doing as many air burns. He's sticking to the outside. He's passing a lot more. He's not shooting as much. And if he is shooting, they're coming from the outside for the most part. And I know that's kind of what his role is right now, which we just talked about. They don't have a lot of long distance shooters. He needs to be that guy, but we're also used to seeing Josh fake out 6 people, go around him, cut around him, and then bury it in the net. And he's not doing that nearly as much. And Smith on that, I mean, we'll kind of get into the defense, but on the transition play, I know that Callum Jones is really fast and he's young, but Smith got straight beat in a sprint, and that doesn't happen very often. And Smith's usually somebody who will outpace everybody. So to see him gets like beat to the net in that situation was a little bit concerning as well. It's like he usually does not lose that kind of foot race, and to see him get beat was, like you said, they're not going to use it as an excuse, but it could be one. I mean, maybe it's just taking them longer to get into this season with all the breaks and everything. Maybe they do. I mean, Johnny says all the time he'd rather have like 5 games in a week. So maybe this team just needs that consistent schedule and that consistent rotation to get them really into the season and moving.
So we'll switch over to the defense here. I thought they played a very solid game considering the losses they still don't have back there with Mitch Desnew and Zach Belter. I thought Mike McCannell played very well. He didn't really notice him, so that's a positive. But yeah, I thought overall they got back to, they had 7 caused turnovers and 9 blocked shots. What did they have versus Rochester? Nowhere near that. Ottawa, on the other hand, 12 caused turnovers, which I think was another massive factor where Buffalo was just getting hounded all the time. 3 blocked shots for Ottawa's defense. But overall, Jeff Teat just pulled Jeff Teat. I mean, the fourth quarter, he just kind of took over and just went, okay, I'm going to will this team to victory. 5 goals, 2 assists, 7 points, and 11 shots. He was the one that was getting the secondary opportunities when they were available. And then the righties, Hellier went 2, 5, and 7. So beyond them and O'Connor 6, they got no depth scoring. Like it was mostly those 3 guys that were killing Buffalo's offense or defense. And that's what we kind of said going into this one is Teat and Hellier are going to get there. So you need to limit the secondary opportunities. They did. 10 should be enough in this league to get a victory, and it wasn't in this night. This falls solely on the offense in this one, in my opinion. And when you're looking at the positives on defense, 2 caused turnovers on the first penalty kill. Like, the movement was great. At one point, Wires and Priolo switched positions without even having to communicate. Like, Wires went out and challenged, and Priolo dropped right back. The movement and the scheme on the penalty kill this year has been fantastic. I thought the transition game in the first 5 minutes was fantastic. Zach Higgins was just bailing his team out. There were plenty of opportunities that they got inside, and it just didn't work. The 5-on-3 with Weiss, Priolo, and Dawson, fantastic. I mean, it was awesome. And then Dawson had a great block shot. Priolo gets it and just barely doesn't beat the clock to score on that one. But I thought overall, when you're looking at it and the not having Zach Belter and Mitch Desnew in there, I thought this was one of their better performances. And I think they have looked great for the last, 6.5 quarters? Like, they have not been the issues there. I thought the defense played phenomenal. The only other part, and I should have asked John Tavares this in the press conference, and I completely blanked on it and forgot. Did you notice Dylan Robinson out there? Like, not only was he playing the left side of defense, he was playing left-handed. The guy's right-handed, and he's playing lefty on defense. Like, I had to double-check multiple times. I was like, no, he's righty. He's playing the same way as Cam Wires and Thomas Whitty and Ron John and Mike McCannell. Like, he was playing lefty as a righty the entire game. And even in the transition, I was like, okay, he's going to switch. No, he stayed lefty the entire time. Like, I don't know if he's ambidextrous, if that's the right word, but holy crap. Like, kudos to Dylan Robinson for completely switching hands and playing lefty when he's needed. And that was, he's been phenomenal this year. I think, Pat Gregoire came on the show before the season, and he mentioned Dylan Robinson's name as more of a transition guy. He has stepped up so massively on the defensive side and filled in phenomenal for the losses on that side.
Yeah, I had no issues really with the defense as a whole either. I thought they played really, really well, and I completely agree with you that they are not the issue right now. The last 2 games now, even the Rochester game, I know they allowed 12, but like you said, that second half, they were right there. They shut down Rochester's really potent offense, and gave Buffalo a chance to get back in that game. And same thing with this one. They did a really great job. Two of their goals that they allowed were on the penalty kill. One of them was 5-on-3, which they were so close to killing off.
Yeah.
Even that opportunity. It was down to like 10 seconds, and they looked like they were playing incredible on 5-on-3, which is really difficult to do. And then Teat scored at the last second, but they killed off the other one. So overall, I thought they did a really good job. I actually noticed McCannell, but for good reasons. I thought he looked really good for a player. They mentioned on the broadcast that they weren't able to get their practice in because of the snow. So for him to come into a new team completely, like all he had was the morning shoot around to learn his players at all, and then to join the team and play, I thought he looked really good. Like he, again, was noticeable to me for the right reasons. Every time I saw like a decent play, I was like, oh, it's McCannell. Like that'll be nice to have him. And it definitely hurts the log jam that's already there more and more and more. But if they can find a way to keep him on this roster, I do think he's great lefty depth. And for, again, a guy who's never played with any of his teammates before, just to hop in, he was not a liability. And I thought he looked really good as some depth over there. And he got pretty physical at times too, so that was good to see. But overall, I really liked what the defense did. Didn't really have any problems. I think I had maybe 2 goals, maybe 1 on them. I'd have to look back, but we'll go over that in a second. But for the most part, really liked what the defense was able to do against what has been so far this season a pretty potent Ottawa offense.
Yeah, the only negatives I have are more of giving credit to Ottawa and their scheme. It was on Dawson and Smith. Goals 1 and 7 were on Dawson, and goal 10 was on Smith. They were able to scheme Jeff Teat on the slowest guy out there. On goals 1 and 7, you could tell they switched off on purpose to get Dawson on Teat because they knew Dawson was the slowest defender out there. No shot at Dawson, but it's more of a credit to Ottawa on what they were able to scheme. And then the 10th one, they noticed that Dane Smith was still stuck on defense. They got Jeff Teat on him, and he did a phenomenal job of getting that shot off. Like 1, 7, and 10, I'm not criticizing the defense. I'm giving props to Ottawa on what they were able to do there. And then that transitions to the goalie here. I mean, I'll run through all the goals and stop me if you need to interrupt me on anything. But Teat, the 4-on-4, that was one of the ones where he targeted Dawson. He got Teat on him. It was a quick stick when the defense was all out of sorts. It made it 2-1 Buffalo. The second one, Dunbar, John just loses him as he's cutting to the middle. I think Ron John just got lost on that one. It was a great feed, 2-2. Third one, Firth. He rolls off of Matisse, who loses his stick somehow. I still don't know how he lost his stick.
I watched it like multiple times. I was like, what happened?
Yeah, I don't get it. He quick sticks Vince, and it's tied 3-3. Teat on the power play after a very long penalty kill. This was one that you were talking about. He beats Vince over the left shoulder to make it 4-3 Ottawa. The fifth one, Jones in transition. Smith you went over that one as well, just can't get back in time, and it's a big goal that beats Vince. It was 5-5. Goal 6, Hellier. McCannell very late getting out, and in the process, screened Matt Vince. That one, I think, is more on the defense than Matt Vince. 6-5 Ottawa. 7th one, Jeff Teat. This time, Dawson can't. He tries. This is the one that I think is a massive issue with Paul Dawson, where there's times
Buffalo in general sometimes.
Yeah, but especially this one, especially with Paul Dawson, there's 20 feet of space between him and Jeff Teat, and he instantly is trying to block the shot. Yep. Like, instead of going out and cutting off the lane, you're trying to block the shot from 20 feet away while in the process screening Mad Vince. So as good of a block shot
in
guy
the process, Teat just keeps walking in closer.
Yeah. Not once did Paul Dawson take one step towards Jeff Teat. So that, to me, is one time where being such a good shot blocker is a hindrance to him, because he'd rather block that shot than get out 20 feet on him. So to me, that was just horrible defense. The 8th one, Jeff Teat on the power play, just 6 seconds in, just splits it right through the Twin Towers that are back there and just beats Matt Vince for an 8-7 lead over Ottawa. The 9th one, this is the one that I have on Matt Vince. Like, out of the 10, this is the only one that I blame Matt Vince on. It's the lane couldn't be any more clear. You saw the camera. He sees it the whole way, and it just goes in. So that, again, 1 goal out of the 10, I'm blaming Mad Vince, whatever. Jeff T, the last one, circles the top. Whitty doesn't switch off for some reason, and he beats Mad Vince. Again, he targeted Dane Smith on that one. Dane gets picked. Whitty doesn't switch off for some reason on, the best shooter in possibly the entire league, and he beats Vince high. But yeah, the 9th one was the only one I had on Vince. Did you have any other ones on Vince that I went through?
The first one I did, I agree with you. The quick stick are really hard to save, but he slid over. He was in position and like just snuck through his arm and his pad. So you could even see, and that when he was like squeezing, thinking that he had it,
Yeah.
and then it like snuck in behind him. That one only because he was right there. Like I feel like normally he would make that save, and it just happened to find that one little spot in there. I will say about the ninth goal. I don't know why, and I'm guessing it's more because it would get blocked more often, but players should shoot bounce shots 100% of the time. They have to be the hardest shot in the world for a goalie to save because you're watching it go low, and then Vince immediately dropped down and went for a low save, and then just hits the ground and skips up into like the top corner and just went right past him. And I do think he went too low too quick, and I think he could have slid over with his whole body instead of just dropping down to block low and then kind of left a decent amount of the net open. So I will agree with you on that. But even like Smith's one goal where he beat Higgins and it was just a skip shot right into the ground and then went like upper 90. Like I know those shots must be extremely difficult to figure out where to hit the ground and how to shoot them, but those must be just an absolute nightmare for the goalie because you see it one way and immediately he just takes off and goes a different direction. Like I don't know how anybody ever saves those. Same like in hockey when they tip the puck in front of the net. Like, I don't know how you're ever saving a tip puck. Like, if it's a good tip, you're screwed.
Yeah, overall, I saw a bunch of people. I've been trying to avoid social media, especially after this. With, again, Buffalo Bandits, another loss. Still didn't put it on Facebook or Instagram or anything. Post the graphics. Like, just turn off the comments if you're that sensitive about it. But, like, it's super ultra petty. I thought Matt Vince was fantastic in this one. I mean, 4-4 at half. He was making incredible saves to start the game. It was a true Zach Higgins versus Matt Vince goalie battle, and I loved every second of it.
For a long time, yeah.
The good, I know JT didn't get the challenge out in time, the fifth one. I'll be honest. I think it was a goal. Like, I think he saved his time out. I know he got it out late and he wasn't able to review it, and a bunch of people were complaining about it, that you got to get the flag out quicker. I think it was a good goal.
So I did watch it on the broadcast, and I could see what he was saying because I mentioned it to you. Like, I don't know what he's trying to say at the game.
I did look this up. I believe they got rid of that 2 replay rule.
Okay.
On top of that, if you didn't get a second replay, you got to criticize who's ever running that your own barn. Like, right. Get the replays on the video.
Which is what the
that's home field advantage.
They were like, I think he's kind of yelling at his own in-house video. I did take there was only one picture I saw on the broadcast, and I took a picture of it, but I don't think it's definitive enough. It would have been extremely close, but it depends on if his 1 foot hits or not. But I agree with you. I do think it was a good goal either way.
Yeah, Farrell, we already mentioned him getting those 2 big draws when he absolutely needed to. Fantastic. Now the down part. I understand fans love Connor Farrell. He's a very likable guy. He's a fan favorite for a reason. But he won the faceoff and then runs to the corner and sticking his tongue out to the crowd, like playing up to the crowd. Crowd's loving it. It ended up being a turnover. So as much as you might love it, it's a horrible play. Like, it's bad play. I'm not criticizing just him. Some guy, he's got to get open for him. But in the end, you're cheering for a turnover. That's all I got. 4 broken sticks in this one. That's pretty much all I got to really talk about. There's you got to throw it in the garbage, move on, use this bye week to fix the offense. Because if you fix the offense, you're good again. The defense is playing fantastic, and you're going to get Coltrane Tyson back, you're going to get Mitch DeSnoo back, and you're going to get Zach Belcher back at some point. So I think
that's the only weird positive and negative. Like if you look at the team, you're like, oh, the defense is doing great. And they're getting even more players back, but the offense looks a little off, and they're healthy. I would rather have the offense be a little bit banged up and getting some help back. But at the same time, this could be a team this year that, I mean, it's okay if they don't put up 9,000 goals or 14 goals a game. That's fine if they have the defense.
11, 12, 13
Vince,
should be enough.
Right. If you have the defense that can lock down this well without one of the greatest defenders in the game, without Zach Belcher, if you get those guys back and you can hold teams to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 goals, which I think this defense can. They just held 2 of the best offenses in the league to not great games, and that was still missing 2 of your best players. So if they get them back, I think they can really be a true lockdown defense with Vince, and then maybe you don't put up as many goals. You aren't dominating teams as much as you were when you had Fraser and Cloutier, but at the same time, that's still a recipe to win in playoffs.
Penalties. There was only one that I didn't really like. The Dawson cross check. Yep, good call. Weiss roughing. You pushed him into the Mad Vince, and then you got mad that he ran into Mad Vince. The roughing one, yeah, that was just silliness. Dylan Robinson holding the stick. Yep, pretty clear. That was clear and obvious. When the defenders hold the sticks, I just don't know why more offenses players just don't just walk away.
I feel like I have seen it more and more often.
It's been picking
now.
up. Yeah.
Like,
it's been funny. Benesh, the roughing one, this was the one I didn't like. I think they only called it because the helmet popped off. I didn't really see it. I should go back and rewatch it. Maybe I'll change my opinion on it, but I thought that one was a bad call.
To me, it should have been both of them. I see they got the second guy in, which is just annoying, but they were both roughing. They were both fighting. And then, like you said, the helmet came off, so they got Benny. But realistically, it was right in front of the ref. I think they should have just sent both of them off as equal roughing like they did with Weiss. It was just, both of you go. That's fine. I don't like just Benny getting that one.
Weiss checking from behind. It's a good call. I still didn't like it, though.
So there's two things with this one. One, we shouldn't have done it. There was 5 seconds left on the shot clock, and the guy's literally running as far away from your net as possible.
Yeah.
You don't need to touch him at all. He's at worst case scenario. Best case scenario, does an over and back violation. Worst case, he just chucks it over his head and they get a shot clock violation. Don't touch him. No need to in that situation. But I wish these calls, and Dawson's was worse for sure, but these calls to me should be a change of possession call and a fresh 30 for Ottawa. I don't know how that constitutes as a penalty. Like, it's just,
my only thought is
it's such a weak push.
It was like the boards.
It wasn't though. Like he was.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I just mean I think that's the reason for
right.
That being
and that I understand. Like if you're hitting him from behind into the boards, that's fine. But like he literally just gave him a light shove from behind, and the guy fell because I would fall too. You're sprinting full speed and get a push, but to me that should just be a dead ball. Ottawa gets the ball with a fresh 30, and that's it. Like, just change the possession and move on. There's no reason to call it. Like, it's not enough to me for a 2-minute penalty. It is enough if you want to just make sure that's staying out of the game to give them a free possession in 30 seconds, and maybe they score off that possession. So it's still hindering, like, oh, don't do that in the future. But I don't like that as a 2-minute penalty. Just, it wasn't enough there for me to be giving that, especially when Bandits players were getting crushed all game, and Ottawa still had 0 penalties called against them. And they didn't even have any delayed penalties this game. They had literally 0 penalties called against them, which to me is just, and again, I don't want refs calling random things just to call a call, but yeah, I don't know how any NLL team plays a perfectly flawless game without a single penalty. That's a little much, but.
And twice on the Bandits this season. 2 of the 6 milestones were accomplished. Josh Byrne goes exactly 400 assists for his career, and Nick Weiss goes up and over 1,000. McKay is 4 short of 700. Josh Byrne still waiting on that cost turnover. Nick Weiss got close to the penalty minutes. He's 1 behind Pat McCready, and Mike Trilla did not play. So congratulations to everybody. We're going to dive into week 8 of the NLL and fly through that because we're close to 40 minutes in. But before we do, we're going to go over our sponsor of this episode, which is Tap That Tap Room at 363 Delaware Street in Tonawanda, New York. It's Buffalo's first women-owned self-pour bar featuring 30 consistently rotating taps. You can get anything from beers, cider, sour, seltzers, or malt beverages, or anything else you want to drink. You can have a combo. If you're a psycho, pour all 5 of those things in one glass and down it.
PK, I really dislike you sometimes.
Your notes are not on here, man. Like, I didn't know what you were going to read, man. I don't know.
So, I'll read my spiel that Tap That Tap Room ad is one of their pictures. Something that we've never discussed until PK just brought it up for the first time ever is combining the beers that are there on their wall. Dang it, PK. But the suggestion, I don't know why you have your trophy out there. Suggestion from Tap That Tap Room was the vanilla porter from Rohrbach Brewing mixed with the bubbly root beer from Breyer Brothers, creating a smooth, creamy, not too sweet root beer float without the ice cream, giving a rich chocolate and vanilla notes from the porter and bubbly root beer goodness on top. So something we've never really discussed other than PK just now is combining the beers. If you see a couple that sound like they'd be really good together, that is something you can do. Not something you can do when you get it from a bottle somewhere else. So pretty interesting little idea there. And if you want to give that combination or others a try, you can do it during happy hour on Fridays from 5 to 7, where the entire beer wall is discounted. And also, there are still a handful of tickets left for the Mosaic Buffalo Plaque Workshop on Tuesday, January 20th. And if you want more information on that event or others, you can check out Tap That Tap Room's Facebook page. And to find out what's on tap and what's on deck, check out tapthattaproom.com. They have something...
For everyone. I really didn't know what you're going to say.
I know you did. It's in my own private notes.
That's what I'm saying. We've been doing this for close to 5 years. I know what you're thinking, even though I really didn't. We'll start with the NLL. We're going to fly through these. There's only 2 games I really want to hit a key point. Colorado gets a big win in Halifax, 11-6. 55-47 in favor of Halifax for the shots. They won the faceoff battle. They stayed out of the penalty box for the most part. Colorado 2 for 4 on the power play. Halifax 3 for 6. It was 6-2 Colorado at half, 7-4 after 3. Halifax offense, as we pointed out a couple weeks ago, and it's kind of come true now, their offense is just not working. And we were talking about Buffalo's. Halifax is much worse right now. Like, they're not getting anything. McLeod, after having a big weekend last week where he's put up 4 in his debut, 0 for 2 on shooting. I mean, Dawson Theed went 0 for 11. It's just, their offense is wrong right now, and Pat Gregoire has been hammering it home. The loss of Thomas Hogarth has been so bad with this offense that it really shouldn't be this bad, because one player that had a very good season last year shouldn't make this entire offense look as bad as it does. But maybe because of how well he played with the righties last year, that Peterson and Stotts just are not the same, and they're not getting anything from the lefties.
Yeah, congrats on Halifax for having more power play goals than the opposing team.
Chances.
Yeah, that's really, really big for them. I know that sounds sarcastic, but that's serious. That's really big for that team. But yeah, you still lost, and you only put up 6 goals. I know Colorado's defense and Dylan Ward have been playing out of their minds, so it's a very, very tough situation. We were talking about this even in the preview, that Halifax is a struggling offense. Not really what you want to see right now is Colorado. Their defense and goaltending is just ridiculous, and I feel like their offense, while they put up 11, is kind of overshadowing, like, the issues they have on offense with the injuries is overshadowing how great that defense and Dylan Ward are playing. I feel like not enough people are really talking about Ward, especially with Dobson also playing out of his mind. But Halifax needs to do something about their offense. I feel like it's possibly too early to panic, especially because they have the same record as Buffalo, but they got to do something, and something soon.
Came home from the game on Friday and turned on the dual screen. Again, round of applause for ESPN doing that. Georgia, 19-9 win. At one point, it was 7-1, 11-2, 14-2, 16-3, and 19-6 at one point. Georgia just blew the doors off of Calgary. Josh Sanderson gets booted out of this game. This was an absolute haymaker of a punch that Georgia laid on Calgary. It was just a fantastic showing of a Georgia team that has been struggling to score, and they just poured it on versus Calgary. So I think, at least for me, in my opinion, I underrated. I had Georgia too low in my overall predictions this season. They're going to be very sneaky, especially Dobson continues to play as well as he did, because he only played 3 quarters and let in 4 goals. Like, Shanahan let in the other 5. It was... He's going to win goalie of the year this year. It's going to happen.
Yeah, that team, if they can figure out this offense anywhere near this, I don't think they're going to put up 19 too many times, but if their offense...
medium between where they were in this game is like 10 wins.
If they can be consistent on offense, and same thing they've had the problem with for a few years, if they can put up 9, 10, 11 goals consistently, especially with the way Dobson's playing, especially with the way the defense is playing, they're going to be really scary. And this was a big game for Lyle. I think this was his best game of the season, 4, 6, and 10, and four goals on 7 shots. That's the Lyle you kind of expect, and we have come to know. And the unfortunate thing for the rest of the league is that if they keep this up, he is not going to be on the trade block until after the season.
Next game took place same time. San Diego takes down Vancouver 11-9. They outshot them. They outfaced off them. And both teams were 1 for 4 on the power play. San Diego led 3-1 after 1, 7-6 at half, 9-3 after 3. And Vancouver, similar to Buffalo, they poured it on late. They got it close. and Curtis Dixon scored the game-tying goal, which was waved off because he was in the crease. They reviewed it, and it was inconclusive. I think he was actually in the crease. My issue was that it was called no goal on the field by a referee that didn't have a vantage point to tell if he was actually in the crease or not. My issue with this is not that it was disallowed, because if you review it, sure, you can disallow it. My issue is that there was nothing from where the ref was standing that he could physically see, because Danny Logan was in the way, that he would rule this as a no goal. When he took off, he was outside of the crease. Did his foot drag as Danny Logan was on him? Probably. But to me, this should have been called a goal because there was nothing that I saw until the replay that showed that he was in the crease. So to me, this was one of the issues that I had with the ref, of not that it was disallowed, but that it was disallowed in real game time and that they had no conclusive evidence to overturn it. I think he was in the crease. But based on what I saw live in game time, and I understand refs have a very tough job. That's why we do not harp on them multiple times, but we do when it's mandatory here. I just think it should have been called a goal on the field. And when they reviewed it, it would have been inconclusive, even though I think he was in the crease. It's just there was no vantage point from where the ref was standing to show and make the call that it was a no goal, that he was in the crease in real time. That's my biggest issue with it.
Yeah, some of them, I mean, it's tough both ways. Like, there was one in the Bandits game recently where from even, I think I was just in the seats, and it looked like it wasn't even close, that he was obviously in the crease, and it got called a goal on the field from the guy who was sitting right there. And then the Bandits had a challenge. It was one of the quickest reviews I've ever seen. Yeah. Like, yeah, his whole like bottom half of his body was in the crease. And you're like, how are you calling that a goal from there? But San Diego, that is their biggest win of the season. That's pretty huge for them.
Save their season.
Yeah, they have a chance now, and not only that, Obrig, that's a monster game for him. So that's a game that I gave them maybe a 0.5% chance of coming out with a victory. So for them to be able to do that, not only does it save their season, but it possibly gives them a little bit of hope and confidence in their own team that maybe they can pull this together. And the standings are beyond bunched, so pretty much everybody's still in it at this. I know it's only 6 games or however many games people have played. It's all over the place with that too, but it's very early in the season. But I mean, I feel like the standings are wildly bunched together right now.
So this is the game that I'm going to hammer home, and it might go longer. I'm sorry. I know we're close to 50 minutes in already. Toronto wins 11-10 over Rochester. Rochester outshot them. They out-faced off them. Toronto was 1 for 3 on the power play. Rochester 1 for 4. Rochester 1-0 after the first, 6-2 at half, 7-3 after 3. So I understand that Toronto probably deserved to win this game by coming back. Rochester didn't deserve to win this one. But the new shot blocking rule was not enforced in this game whatsoever, and it didn't just happen once. It happened twice. Now, the first time was like 44 seconds left. There were at least 2 players in the crease acting like goalies. Well, goalies, I should say, because that's up for interpretation. But it was egregious, and it went uncalled. Like, I don't understand that one. Then the second, there's like 4 seconds left. They whip it down the field. Somebody was able to gather it up and put another shot on net, and it was blocked.
McConvey.
Yeah, blocked in the crease again. Not called again. Like, that one should have been a penalty shot. The one before it should have been just an overall penalty, because under 30 seconds, it should be a penalty shot. My problem with this rule, and I didn't have a problem, and don't call me Bandits bias, whatever. Buffalo's been able to adjust to it. I don't think they've gotten a single
shots
call.
Like crazy.
Yeah, I don't think they've gotten a single call based on this rule. I didn't care about it going in. I actually thought that this would make more scoring available because players are outside. Maybe it would be easier to defend, so on and so forth. I was fine with the rule. My issue is that the one time where it should have been called for this exact reason, it wasn't. Like, to me, there's been too many calls in games that I've watched where it shouldn't be called. Like, the player wasn't acting like a goalie. It just hit them. And because they were standing in the crease, which technically they're not supposed to anymore, and it hit them, they get a 2-minute. This is clear and obvious. It's defined in the rules. This right here is the reason that they wrote the rule, and it wasn't called, and it was ignored twice. Like, once I can understand. Twice. And it went non-existent. Why have this rule in the book if for the exact reason it's there, it went unnoticed and it went uncalled? So I understand refs have a tough job. I've never been a ref, never want to be a ref. It's a very difficult job. But to me, this should have been called twice, and it wasn't. So why even write a rule and put it in there and try to enforce it if for the exact reason it's there wasn't called? So that's the biggest reason. I don't even care if Rochester wins or loses this game. Doesn't matter to me. Doesn't factor into my life whatsoever. It's just it wasn't called, and it's supposed to. And why have it if you're not going to enforce it, especially when they want it enforced in the final minute? It's lunacy, and it should have been called. And I don't think the league will say anything about it because whatever, but it should have been addressed, and somebody needs to answer the bell for why it wasn't.
I mean, the league went over Dobson not being able to be in the penalty box, or shouldn't have been. This is up there in the same line of pretty obvious, and yeah. I'm happy it was posted online, not only so I could watch it without having to go search and find it.
Thank you, Adam Levy.
Yeah, thank you for making it known, because, yeah, those were both, especially the first one, like you said, with 44 seconds left, two guys in the crease, clearly not even close. They're very in the crease, and both had their hands up and jumped in front of the shot and got hit. Like, that is beyond the definition of the new rule, and hopefully, I mean, because it's still early in the season, it is a new rule, pretty egregious, like you said, but hopefully at the referee meeting, hopefully they have one and say, hey, these are two prime examples of what we should be calling as a in-the-crease goaltender kind of delay a game situation. So hopefully they use this as a learning experience and we don't see something that bad again in the future, because it was not good.
Yeah, I think they just need to rewrite the rule. That was my one issue with the rule, is I thought the wording of it was
the
too
interpretations,
vague.
too up.
That was my one issue with it. They need to redefine it.
I mean, that should have been, I don't know, like, what else you're looking for if that doesn't count.
That's clear and obvious. It's the definition is exactly what we saw. But we'll move on. Two more games. We'll fly through these. Saskatchewan gets the big win. We were all expecting 15-10. That Oshawa went back into hiding, and Saskatchewan's an absolute wagon right now. I think, to me, after Rochester's loss to Toronto, they're the clear and obvious favorite going into the second third of the season. They're fantastic right now.
Yeah, there's nothing really to say. Saskatchewan's just a like you said, not only a wagon, but they are just humming right now. I mean, they have seen no struggle so far for the most part. I mean, yes, they have one loss, but besides that, this team has just been humming along, and they are clearly the team to beat right now.
Last one. Okay, I'm sort of back on track here. Philly only scored 7. Las Vegas scores 10. They get the win. Kells bounces back. And, what needed to happen was Vegas needed to win this one. Otherwise, they needed to go out and get addressed the goalie immediately. They're sitting 3-3 on the season right now. I still think they need a goaltender, but they survived the one win they needed to, and that puts Philly into a position where are you going to start selling a bit earlier than everybody kind of expected you to.
Yeah, if Buffalo Joe wants to join Buffalo, wouldn't hate it. We
need a righty.
They've already gotten to Snoo from that team, so, there's some GM connection there, and if they just want to pass Resetera, it's over, that would be A-okay.
So that wraps up week 8. We're about 55 minutes in, so we're going to crank out these next 2 sessions here. Bills' season is over. 33-30 loss in overtime. Game-winning field goal by Denver's Will Lutz to end it. This was a game where Josh Allen was responsible for the loss and was responsible for the only reason they were in this game. It's such a weird season that culminated in, what did you expect? Like, we've kind of were expecting this last week. We were kind of expecting this week, that eventually Bills not having skilled players was going to come back to haunt them. I just didn't think that Josh Allen committing, 4 of the 5 turnovers in this game. He had 2 fumbles, 2 interceptions. The 1 interception, we'll get into it. But it was an ugly game by Josh Allen. I will not going to criticize Joe Brady in this one. I thought he called a pretty stinking good game. Yeah, there were a few play calls you probably want back and make a different decision, but you can say that in every single game. I do not blame Sean McDermott in this one. I thought the defense cranked it out as much as they could, being put in short yardages, not putting 30 points on the defense. If you watch that game and you're blaming the defense, you can't watch football. You can't break it down. Just enjoy it for the entertainment value. This to me falls solely on James Cook making that one fumble that came back to haunt them and Josh Allen's 4 turnovers. And again, they're not in this game if Josh Allen and James Cook aren't on this team. Like, hands down, they are responsible for why they lost and why they were in the game in the first place. It's just such a weird position to be in. I mean, the defense held Denver to 22 for 70 rushing, and Knicks was 12 for 29. Their next rushers were doing nothing. Like, Marvin Mims was the one that killed them in this one on defense. Yeah. It was just, I feels like, and we're going to go into the interception / not interception in a second, but overall, I think this was them playing with fire all season, and it came back to burn them by not having enough skill talent. And the funniest part is, and it shouldn't be funny, but I'm laughing at it, I sent the picture, Phil. They have minus $3 million in cap space going into next season. So on top of not having any skill players beyond James Cook, they don't have freedom to do it. I know they can move around money, but going into right season right now without making moves, they got negative cash. It's Brandon Bean, you're on the chopping block, even though I don't think you're going to get fired. God, this is mismanaged of the cap.
I was going to say that is the one person you didn't mention that to me is pretty much solely to blame for this loss.
He's the king.
It's ridiculous. I mean, again, we went to the trade deadline, picked up absolutely nobody, said this team was fine. They got all the skill players they need, while at the same time, Myers.
Jacoby Myers.
It is
he's
Myers.
Doing
okay.
great.
Myers
was doing great
for the Jaguars. Completely flipped that entire offense. One player, and he did not cost much for what the Bills could have brought him in for, and arguably changed this team, and probably would have played a massive factor in this game. And you run out there, and yes, you had injuries, but losing Shavers and Gabe Davis shouldn't cost you your season. Adding a Myers could have cost you a season in a good way. Like we talked about the checklist for a really long time. Turnovers were a massive thing on that checklist, and they lost that battle. They had 13 points against on turnovers. The one turnover they did get, they turned it right back over to them on the next interception. So the Bills didn't get any points off of their single turnover. Just like you said, it was a team playing with fire. The fact that they were in it so long, and the worst thing to me, or one of the worst things, is like everything aside, this was a game that to me Denver did not deserve to win by any means, and continued to give Buffalo a chance to win it, which I don't know how they allowed Buffalo to stay in this game at all. But you had Josh Allen in a field goal wins it situation, which is exactly what you want, and it's all you've ever dreamed of since the overtime loss at Kansas City, where that rule got put in the next year because of the situation like this. They each got a possession. Your defense did what they needed to do. You had Josh Allen. You had all you needed was a field goal, and you win the game. You move on, and they weren't able to do it. And that to me is kind of just the crushing blow of this loss. Like you had everything, to me, in my opinion, that you could have wanted in this game after everything that happened. You had Josh Allen needing just a field goal to send this team on, and they weren't able to do it. And now, because it was part of that drive, you can get into the interception.
Yeah, I get. So after taking the time, and 24 hours has passed since this, thank God we didn't have to record after this again. Going back to 13 seconds, which was an absolute nightmare. After 24 hours have passed, I believe it was an interception. Based on the rules, I believe it was an interception. The issue I have is how the wording... Nobody knows what a freaking catch is. Like, why do we have to put in so many different things to figure out what a freaking catch is? He caught the ball. He landed with the ball in his hands. Yep. The knee hit, and a defender touched him. That should be a freaking catch. Like, he completed the catch to the ground, and the defender ripped the ball away, which means an interception. That play has been called a completion many, many times. We saw it last year where Cole Bishop tried to intercept the ball, and then Worthy has it on the ground, and they call it a reception because Ty goes to the receiver. How many DBs have commented that is always a reception because Ty goes to the wide receiver? It's such an open for interpretation rule, that's the issue I have. That they never will, because NFL loves this kind of drama. Like,
Yeah.
all the talking points is all NFL on this kind of thing. They love it. Like,
Yeah.
they don't
It makes
care
them
how
money.
they don't care who wins the game as long as people are talking about the game.
Yep.
That's my problem, is the way this rule's written, and that's been a problem for years and years and years, and that's why I'm so confident in saying they're never going to touch this. To complete a catch shouldn't be this difficult. If you're breaking the plane, if you're running the ball and you dive and complete the touchdown and the ball falls out, you broke the plane, it's a touchdown. But if you're doing the same thing and you catch the ball and then fumble, it's not. Like, there's too many stupid rules in this rule book. Like,
Sure.
I agree, based on how the rule is written, that was an interception. But other things have been completions. Like,
Right.
I have an issue with it. And then the second thing is how quickly and how non-existent there was no replay. Like, I'm sitting there waiting for a replay, and Denver's ready to snap the ball, and Sean McDermott has to call a timeout. Like, the overlords of the NFL. Like, what the hell? Like, what is going on that wasn't even, like, you can't even take a second to go review this in overtime? And you waste many, many times on timeout. Like, the last 2 minutes takes a half an hour, and you can't take 2 minutes to go review a play. It, like, that to me was a catch, but based on the rule, it was an interception. That's my problem with it, is the rule. And this is not a bitter Bills fan. They made it way past what I thought they would. It's just, this is another name of a loss that for years, the next 40, 50 years that I'm living, this is going to be called the interception game. Like, the McMillian interception game. That's what it's going to be called. Like, it's just, it's so frustrating being, like, I hate that my parents made me a Bills fan, because every single time, like, counting down, I'm like, how are they going to blow this one? What name is this going to happen? And sure enough, another way of losing another game. It's just,
the no review is what bothers me the most, especially because if this is blown up so much on social media and everybody's commenting on it, there's clearly not Buffalo bias that this should have been reviewed. If everybody in the world right now is talking about this one single catch, then there's a reason they're discussing that catch, because it was questionable one way or the other, a catch or an interception.
And it goes back to the stupid ass rule. Oh, I sorry. I'm going to have to bleep that out. It goes back to the stupid rule in this sport of what's a catch. Nobody knows what a catch is.
But, like, at the very least, it should have been reviewed, and reviewed for a long time. Yeah. Like, if there's anything to take your time with in overtime on a catch that could send Buffalo with a victory, or an interception that could give Denver the ball and a chance to for them to win. Like, it was way too big of a play and way too controversial of a call to just hurry up, Denver get up there, and no review, and New York say, oh, yeah, we're good. Like, I fully believe that us watching the game saw more replay reviews of that play than New York did in their 1 millisecond that they watched that play and just said, oh, it's good. And the fact that McDermott even talked about it after the game, that he had no interest in calling a timeout in that situation, but he was forced to, because, like, what are we doing? Like, how are we already moving past this controversial catch? Like, what, aren't you going to review? And they're like, no, we're just moving on. Like, and like you said, like, how quickly they were up and ready to snap. I was like, what is going on? It was just a wild play. Very
even
unfortunate.
A TV timeout. Like,
right. It was just instant. Like, it's the fastest I've ever seen them go from one team having the ball to the other team having the ball. Why is
Denver's offense already out there? They're snapping the. Where's the review? Like, what is going on?
Yeah, and again, like, I don't think that's why they lost. I mean, yes, you can say if it was a catch, they would have won, but you can't have 4 turnovers. The turnover by Allen before halftime, which cost you 3 points right there, is. I mean, arguably
I got one more question with
ones,
that.
But
when it first happened live, the Josh Allen one right before half, did you think he was pitching it backwards?
I have no idea what he was doing.
I thought he pitched it backwards, and then I watched it again, and he did get it knocked out. But I was like, oh my God, this is Houston all over again, where he threw it behind his head to Dawson Knox. Like, I thought that's what was happening. But then I watched it again. I was like, okay, but why is the ball there in the first place? Like, if I love the idea of, like, 18 seconds to go, them chucking it down the field and hoping for DPI.
Right.
But if it's not there, you chuck it out of bounds. You don't run for 10 yards.
At the very least, like, Allen should have just knelt it. After there was nothing there, just go down. Take the sack, whatever. Like,
take the old life alert, go down.
Right. And even when he ran forward, if you don't want to get sacked or whatever, like slide in the middle of the field, it's over, go into halftime. Like the fact that he went forward and then tried to run to the sideline with what, maybe 2 seconds left and you got like 5 yards on the place, that does absolutely nothing for you. It was very unlike Allen. I think he knows that for sure. I mean, he's beating himself up about it more than we ever could. So he knows what he did was not a smart move, but it's just something that's been taken for the most part out of Allen's game. So to see him regress in that moment to old Josh Allen, I guess he still makes hero ball mistakes, but that was a wild one that I feel like we haven't seen in a long time. And one that
goes back to Brandon Beane's fault by not giving him enough talent.
I mean, it really does. Like so much of this to me is on Bean, and the fact that they're 100% going to run all of this back again next year. And like you said, -3 cap space. They have no one they can bring in. I know they can.
And Allen's 30.
And
like
Allen's
you have
like
three more years of primetime Allen.
You wasted so much of him, and I don't see them finding any way to make a big improvement to this roster, especially because some of the guys they need to re-sign. Like some of them, they need to be brought back, and they're going to get money. It's just. And the other side, you got New England not only advancing, but they also have, $40 million in cap space, and they're just going to demolish you moving forward. Like it's so disheartening. Like this one seems like one of the worst losses because now I feel like other teams have just passed them, and I just don't see a clear picture that they can make this team that much better to catch up to a team like New England, who already beat you, already won the division, and has so much cap space to move forward ahead of you even further. Like this feels like such a regression for this team, and I'm very, very scared for what they're able to do next year because they need a lot of help and they have no way to get it. Also, Brandon Beane, one more thing. Your defensive line that you've been building for 19 years since you've been here with 0 sacks is such a joke. Like, that's all he's talked about since he's been here. We got to build a pass rush. We got to build this defensive line. He has yet to succeed at that for all these years and all this investment, all these draft picks, all these people he's brought in to help that defensive line, and you get 0 sacks in a game you needed them most. Ridiculous.
Yeah, we're going to have all offseason to dissect this more. How I'll leave this is Sean. I have loved Sean McDermott these last 2 years. Like, I think he's opened up ever since why can't I think of his name? The guy that wrote the article.
I do know what you're talking about. I do forget the article.
I truly apologize. I can't remember his name. It's probably going to pop to me after we get done recording. But ever since that article came out, I thought you've seen a different Sean McDermott, and I've loved him. And I think he is a very, very, very good coach. Don't get me wrong.
The adjustments they made at halftime against this team were incredible.
Yeah, he is a very good head coach. But even Andy Reid got fired from Philly. At some point, you need to shake things up. Allen is 30. You got 3 more years of primetime Allen, and if you're lucky, you got 8 more years of him total. You can't keep running out the same thing and have the same results over and over and over. Is Brandon Beane the first domino that needs to fall? Yes. But to me, I'm shaking up the whole front office, the whole coaching staff, and restart. You can't keep doing this over and over and over. You have the best player that's ever come through Buffalo, that might have ever played in the NFL, and you've wasted 8 years of his career not doing jack squat. Like, cool, you're a competitive football team in the playoffs. The end goal, when you have Josh Allen as your quarterback, should be Super Bowl or bust every single year for the last 6 years. Hasn't happened. They haven't even sniffed
year 2 is going to go to the Super Bowl before Josh Allen.
They haven't even sniffed the Super Bowl. Like, it would be one thing if he's went to multiple Super Bowls and lost. Yeah. It would be different if he went to 1 Super Bowl and lost. You haven't even come close to getting to a Super Bowl. That's my issue is, again, I think Sean McDermott is a very good head coach. I really do. If he's fired tomorrow, he's getting a job the next second. 100%. Yeah. But that doesn't mean you can't shake things up. I think Baltimore waited too long to fire John Harbaugh. I think Mike Tomlin hung around Pittsburgh way too long. I don't want the same thing to happen here in Buffalo where Sean McDermott's here for 15 to 20 years. You go through Josh Allen and whoever the next quarterback is, and you have yet to get a Super Bowl. Just because you're a great guy and a good head coach doesn't mean you can get it done. And I've been saying that for 3 years. It needs to be a clean shakeup. I'm sorry it's come down to this point, but clean house. You only have so many more years of Josh Allen, and you've been ruining it. So we'll move on to the Sabres. I know we're close to.
There's a team that PK believes can get it done.
I did buy back in. Like I mentioned it. Like I got out of the pool, went to the diving board, and cannonball. I'm back in, and what's weird is I'm back in on a loss. This team is different. Like it's been big enough sample size. I'm bought back in. This team's making the playoffs. They're breaking the drought. I'm ready to be hurt again. That gif with Michael Scott. I'm ready to be hurt again. They beat Philly on Wednesday. We were at the game on Thursday. Fantastic atmosphere. Everything they did right. The players on the skates coming back onto the ice. All the videos. Danny Briere, your boy Danny, back on the video board, thanking everybody.
Hall of Fame for Vanek and Palmer.
Hall of Fame for Vanek and Palmerville. The building's ready for this. Like every piece of this, the team's busting its butt. We were just sitting in the chair going like, what do you think Kevin Adams is doing at home? Just like, this is my team. The general manager has done nothing to the team, but I'm bought back in. Like if the pool was in front of me, I'm diving in whether I know how to swim or not, and I don't know how to swim. I'm fully bought into this team right now that they will make the playoffs. Like this is a playoff team. Are they going to win a series? I have no idea. But how they're playing right now and the skill that they have on this team, if I'm Yarmo, I'm going out and adding a forward on this team to get them over the hump and in this playoffs. They're a playoff team right now. I'm if it hurts again, it hurts again. But I've been waiting for them to play like this. I might as well put my money where my mouth is. They're a playoff team. If they keep playing this way, they're a playoff team. Hands down, they're going to make the playoffs.
Is this the first year that neither of us picked a bold prediction for them to make playoffs?
Yep, I think so.
Like we were both completely out, and that's when they get you. That's when they bring you back in.
I'm ready to be hurt again. I'm ready. And
the big thing about these games, 2 for 6 on the power play, 2 for 4 on the power play, 1 for 4 on the power play. And the power play, I mean, it wasn't a butt goal off somebody's back and in. Like they actually looked decent and had some good setups. And I was like, okay, like this is what we need to see from this power play. They're way too good, even strength with the talent they have, to have a just abysmal power play. So to see them score and see some actually good quality, nice setup power play goals was really, really good to see.
Games coming up, Carolina, Montreal, and Islanders. Big games, got to have that. If you're going to drop the one in Nashville. You need to start beating the teams in the Eastern Conference. You got the point. I mean, what bought me back in was when they were down 3-1 versus Minnesota on Saturday, and I'm watching the game. I'm like, they're going to come back, and they came back, and they were actually leading, and it was a goal that went in on UPL, but they got that point. Like most times when the team comes back like that, they don't get a point. Like if they're down 3-1, they're not fighting back. It's going to be a 5-1 game. They fought back, they took the lead, and they got the loser point in overtime. Like it feels different, Phil. Like if they continue to play this through January and all the way to April, I'll go bet on the Sabres right now. They're making the playoffs. Like if they continue to play this way.
Imagine if they didn't have a losing streak.
Yeah, imagine if they didn't. If they started and played the whole season like this, you could be up there with Colorado. I'm just kidding. But Phil, is there anything else with this very long episode before we shut it down for a bye-filled week for all the teams besides the Sabres? The Sabres are the only ones in action that we got to follow this week.
No, we are all good. Gonna go cry in a corner about the Bills by myself.
That's fair. I've already done that. My eyes are all red from it. But yeah, next episode, we'll give the nominees for the Bills award show for the 5th season, I think it is. The award show will be on Monday. Look for those on the social media sites. We got an idea for the Bandits bye week, so stay tuned for that as they're 1/3 of the way through their season. There's a little hint for you. And Sabres have 2 more games that we'll dissect on the next episode. So we'll round this out by thanking everyone for listening to another episode of the Buffalo Sports Collective. As I look for my outro music, there it is. Thank you to Tap That Tap Room for sponsoring this episode and this podcast. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok at Buffalo Sports Collective. Maybe you can find the picture right here, guys. I'm going to end the show like this. And on X and Blue Sky, Buffalo Sports Co. Visit our website at buffalosportscollective.com. Phil's article will be there on Tuesday. Follow our channel wherever you listen to podcasts, and make sure you leave us a review on Apple and Spotify. It's PK, your champion. Until next time, bye-bye.